and gentlemen, welcome to the KeithAndrewNetwork. It's episode 343. We're doing a special half-hour edition. I'm here with the talented upcoming actor Bill Oberst Jr. And I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Keith, have you really done 343 shows?
Yep.
That's a long time, man. How many years have you been doing it?
Well, I promised myself I wouldn't bring it up, but you were originally supposed to be 443. The long story about that is I was taking people at their word, and little by little, people were saying, you're hurting my image, I don't want to be seen with someone like you, you're degrading. So I basically took it down, and at the time, certain people were telling me, you have to be copyrighted, trademarked, blah, 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 blah. And so I did it over. I wrote up a permission form. And now everyone who is a guest on my show has to sign the permission form, as you sure. And now you guys are going to stand by it. Basically, I introduce myself, tell you what the show is about, and you sign it and agree and let me to use the interview, and you can't back out of it. I should have done that from the start. Like I said, I'm imperfect, and it's a learning experience. But to answer your question, today's the 30th. Tomorrow is actually my anniversary, because I started in June of 2013. Yes, don't mind me. I just haven't done my interviews as of late. June 2013, I started my talk show. And tomorrow's my anniversary for 4 years.
Congratulations.
No, I appreciate it. And, for people who want to know what my talk show is about, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something, and I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities. Saying labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. And to prove to them you can break the labels. So hashtag break the labels.
I'm very much with that hashtag. We label each other way too much in this world. Way too much.
No, absolutely. And now today it's a half hour of your time. Freedom of speech, freedom of self-expression. You can say anything you want, get up, walk around, and do whatever you want. And starting off, what can you tell us about yourself?
I'm an actor. Usually that's followed by people telling you what they've done. People can go to IMDb or they can Google me, they can look me up, and they can see what I've done. I'm well known in some genres of film, and in others people will say, who the hell's that? So, like all actors, I do a variety of projects. I guess I've become best known for playing mean and scary people. And in fact, I was going to ask you when you said that some people had said they didn't want to be seen with you, or that you were hurting their image. My first instinct, I guess from doing all these roles, was, who said that? Because I'll go pay him a visit.
No, I appreciate it. And, I used to be called uncensored. And my long story about that is a lot of people use the word uncensored. I use it, you use it. Some people in my family use uncensored. And it kind of loses the meaning. If everyone's going to use the word uncensored, it's kind of like, how does that make you any different than some Joe down the street?
Well, I think we're all a little too uncensored. There's a thing called civility and politeness. It's how we get along with one another and don't tear each other apart like animals. So I think we could all do with a little bit of self-censorship.
No, absolutely. And it's basically what got to me was I came across this actress. I just give a little hint. She's a former Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Not really a fan of her after the whole thing we went through. I told her about the show. I said I would love to have you as a guest. I grew up watching you. And she said no thank you. The next day, it didn't really matter to me if she waited a week, 2 weeks, a month. She did it the next freaking day. hey everyone, I'm blah blah blah, and I have a brand new show. It's called Uncensored, and I'm gonna talk about this. I'm gonna talk about that. I want son of a, that's my concept. You just basically, you're taking my concept and using it for yourself, and I can't say anything because you're gonna use the race card and say, well, how do you know she came up with it first? Maybe you're the ripoff. And so basically, I said to her she was an asshole, you're a hypocrite. 2 weeks later, I said, I apologize. I'm handicapped. I'm retarded. I wasn't thinking. I take a lot of pride in my show. I apologized. She said no. So I went a little deeper. I said, look, I just told you I have a disability, and I'm more than disabled. I didn't mean any disrespect. I'm sorry I called you an asshole and a hypocrite, and blah, blah, blah. She said, make a long story short, we do not accept apologies from people like you. And I was like, you know what? You can take your career and shove it up your ass, because I don't want to be seen with somebody like that.
Oh, Keith, man. You know what? When I was a kid, there was a song out called That's the Way of the World by Earth, Wind, and Fire, and you just laid it out, brother.
It's okay. If someone's an asshole to you, like I said, it's uncensored. Someone's an asshole to you, and you're like, okay, there has to be a reason. And I told you the reason, but I'm handicapped. I have a word and disabled. Common sense would tell you I should give this person a second chance, even if he doesn't deserve it. It makes me look like a better human being, because I don't want that on my conscience. You're basically saying I'm horrible at first impressions. Everyone can say that about me. I'm horrible at first impressions. But the fact that someone says they're handicapped, worded disabled, and you didn't just shovel it back into their face, saying we don't want to deal with people like you, or it's kind of like, who says that?
Dude, I don't know. We're all God's children,
No, absolutely. And you know what? This is not about me. This is about you. You mentioned, I want to talk to you about your career. And the first thing I'm going to ask you is, who influenced you to start your career? And have you worked with any big-name stars?
Mean people influenced me to start my career. Mean kids, to be exact. Kids can be really cruel because kids don't have any censor. That's why it is not good as an adult to be uncensored. You put a bunch of kids in a room and you have one kid that's different, and you'll find out how charming uncensored can be. Not charming. Let me see, Keith, I was a fat kid. I've always looked pretty much like this. I had really bad acne very early. I liked school, and I liked Sunday school, and, so I was kind of bookish. I liked to read, and I was very overweight when I was a kid. So I was the fat kid, smart kid, ugly kid, and sissy kid because I couldn't throw a football, all in one kid. So kids really made fun of me, and the only way that I could find to fit in at all was to be their little performing monkey. And I learned that I could change my voice and do impressions of teachers and principals. So I began to do impressions for them, and they were nice to me. And I said, aha, if you entertain people, they will not hit you. Remember that. So my whole career has been pretty much a plea asking people, please don't hit me. You ask about big-name stars. Stars a ball of gas, but well-known celebrities, yes, Hugh Jackman and Jim Carrey, and a couple of people who have since passed on. One of them was Robert Loggia, who was well known for playing the piano with Tom Hanks in the movie Big. Worked with Adrienne Barbeau and Tobin Bell in an episode of Criminal Minds. And and every time that I have worked with someone who's big, and I think it's really a silly word, but who's very well known, I find that they're invariably, they're kind, and they treat other people the way that they would want to be treated. And I always wonder why that is. The meanest people are the people who are trying to be somebody. The kindest people, in my experience, are the people who aren't worried anymore about being somebody. Jim Carrey, he walks on set, he sticks out his hand, and he says, "Hi, I'm Jim," as if we don't know. But he gives us the opportunity to say, hey, I'm Keith. Hey, I'm Bill. Hey, I'm Lisa. You know, he meets us on our own terms. So I think that there's two things you can do in life. You can try to be somebody or you can try to do something. If you are no longer worried about being somebody, it frees you up. And that can happen either because you've made it and you've become somebody, or you've said to hell with it. I don't care if I'm anybody in anybody else's book, but I want to do something on this earth. And so I hope that that's where I've arrived at in my career, is I really don't give a damn about being somebody anymore, but I do care a lot about doing something, and that's entertaining people. Life can be very hard, and I like to give people something that they can lean back and enjoy after they've had a hard day's work. Generally, I do that by murdering people in horror movies, but I try to do it in an entertaining way.
No, absolutely. And you mentioned a couple of big-name stars, and first question I want to ask you, are you on good terms with them? Do you keep in contact? And second question is, do you have any funny stories about them, about working together?
I have funny stories that I won't tell out of respect for them. And generally, no, people in the business don't keep in contact much, except when they're working or they need something. You might occasionally get an email from somebody that you've worked with who wants you to help them promote something that they're doing, or you might see them again on another project. And it doesn't mean that they're being mean. It's just that in this business, it moves so quickly that once you move on from one project, you're with a whole other group of people for a short time, and then you're with a whole other group of people for another time. I will tell you that Hugh Jackman, I'll tell you one story about Hugh Jackman. I worked with him. It was for a Chinese car commercial. He's a spokesman for Toyota in China, or at least was at that time, and I played his boss. It was a short film, like a 13-minute commercial, which you'd never have in America. And so, like if you and I were doing a film together, Keith, and we're doing a conversation, then it's called flipping around. So like we film you, and then they say, okay, we're going to flip around now, or turn the world around, and that means put the camera on me. So you can either be there or not be there for that side, because they don't really see you on camera. And usually when it's a big star, that person's no longer there.
Yeah.
So they're doing me and Hugh Jackman, and they already did Hugh's side, and they say, okay, we're going to flip around, turn the world around, we're going to flip on Bill. And they said, Mr. Jackman, you can go back to your trailer. And he said, no, I'll stay here. And I said, you really don't have to do that. You know, you're Hugh Jackman. You don't have to be here. And he said, mate, if it was me, I would expect you to be right there for me. We're in the same business, and we're doing the same thing for a living. Now let's do the scene. I was incredibly impressed, Keith, and I thought, this is why you're Hugh Jackman, and people love you. That's the ultimate professional compliment, is to be there for somebody when you don't have to.
No, absolutely, and I'm a huge Hugh Jackman fan. It would be an honor and privilege to have him on the show, and if he could put a good word in for me, I'd really be thankful.
You know, if you could get to him or to his representative, I'm sure that he would say yes. I can't imagine him saying no. You should try.
Hey, never say never, right?
No, I mean, many of these stars, if you can just get to them, they're the nicest people in the world. But generally, there's like a little picket fence of people around them who sometimes aren't.
No, I agree with you. And before I tell you my experience with that, as you mentioned the movie Big, in the beginning scenes when you're in the toy store, now I work in Toys R Us, but it's not the same as the toy store in the movie Big. That's the toy store I wanted to be in. That's
a toy store. Yeah. Do you enjoy working at Toys R Us? Do you like the kids that come in, and do you have fun?
When they're not obnoxious.
When they're not what?
When they're not obnoxious, I do like it.
You mean the parents or the kids?
Both. Well, to be honest, I never once had an issue working at Toys R Us. It was the parents. The kids, I'll give you an example. This past weekend, Memorial Day weekend, I was playing with a toy. Hey, for people who want to play with toys, I recommend working at Toys R Us. So I was playing with a toy, and this kid, I couldn't tell if he was Spanish or Asian or whatever the hell he was. He came running over and he kicked it across the floor. I was like, are you shitting me right now? That's completely unnecessary. One, you're vandalizing store property, and two, who the hell does that?
Did you say that?
No, I was biting my lip.
I wish you had.
I wanted to say, yeah, what's your malfunction? But I was like, I need a job. Keep your mouth shut. Just smile and nod, and like, asshole. But it's when I do work, it's kind of hard to have a filter on what I do, because I'm always a people person. I always go and make a difference. If we work together, I don't care if you're my boss or my manager or just a customer. If you give me respect, I'm going to get respect right back to you. And it's the same thing. If you disrespect me, I'm going to puss you. If you puss on me, I'm the type of person who'll puss back. I really don't care what the consequences is.
You mentioned toys. I want to show you something that's on my desk. Because I'm a toy person too. I believe in being surrounded by things that inspire you.
Yes.
And this, many people, do you recognize him?
A little bit.
He is, he's Figment. And he's from Epcot Center, Walt Disney World, which is one of my favorite places on earth. He's from a ride called Imagination, which isn't there anymore, but Figment was the figment of your imagination, and he was all about imagining things. And so this silly little thing is on my desk to remind me always that everything that we take for granted that we think has been around forever, somebody imagined it, Keith. It was all somebody's idea. It was somebody's idea to start with. So Figment reminds me that if other people can create things and have ideas, then you can too. That's what he says to me. So I don't believe in leaving toys completely behind. I like them. I'm going to show you one more, and then I'll stop at the toys. Okay?
No, that's fine. Right, you can do whatever you want.
I'll be right there. This was just sent to me. This is a figure of me in a movie, a horror movie called Circus of the Dead, in which I play this really horrifying clown. And a sculptor did this little guy who's just this perfect figure of my character. And I think he's really cute. He doesn't look quite as scary as the actual clown does up close when the clown is killing you. This makes him in a nice size, So I keep him around too. I like little things like that. We have to grow up, but I don't think we have to grow old.
No, absolutely. It's just a number. It doesn't. I say that to my dad. There's this guy who I used to know. He passed away, but he had a big impact on my life. I pissed him off a lot, but it's because of him. He gave me the opportunity to create my own talk show. For that, I'll ever be thankful. And for my dad, I said to him, this guy, Mr. Tom Earl, God rest his soul. Always walked around wearing Spider-Man. He always wore these cool things. And I said to my dad, why don't you do that? And he says, one, I don't want someone to throw a net over me. And it's like, it doesn't matter because you have to express yourself either way. I do stupid things, at work I dress up, and I interact with the customers. And talking about toys, I have my good luck cat.
Oh, wow.
And
does his hand always... I've always wondered now, Keith, do their hands ever stop doing that?
It's basically solar power, so when in the dark it turns off.
Love it.
So it has to be in the light. And also yesterday I got one of these finger spinners.
Oh, is that like the gadget thing?
Yeah, basically you hold it and you spin it.
Awesome.
I was sort of Captain America one. I got so sick when I asked the guy, oh, how much do you want? He want 25. I'm like, see you later. I'm not paying...
For Captain America?
Basically, it's like this, but it's a giant circle. And it was a shield. And
yeah.
Like, okay, one, if you were a collector, it's nice. But if you're just going to walk around and doing a this with it, and I was like, yeah, $25 versus $3. $3 or $25. I go with the $3 one, thank you.
Let me ask you this: do you like comic books?
Absolutely.
Wait a minute. Okay, I got to grab one more over here. Hold on.
Yeah, take your time.
I'm coming back to you. These are, so I collect these old horror comics, like this is The Haunt of Fear.
Oh, nice.
And Weird Stories and Tales from the Crypt and all of these. But these are fantastic. These old, I mean, the art in them is just great. And there's stories like this one's The Living Mummy. And they're really, really fun to read because they don't try to be sophisticated.
Right.
Like when people are scared in these comics, they say things like, "Aye." And another thing people often say is like, this guy, his brain has been switched with a gorilla. And so he looks in the mirror and he realizes this. And what does he say? The little caption box says, "Good Lord, I'm a gorilla." And that's the perfect thing to say if your brain has been switched with a gorilla. So I love these, and sometimes when I'm feeling too serious, I pull them out and read them. Yeah, toys, comic books, these things are great. I don't think that if you're a really mean person, I don't think you'd want to play with toys or read comic books.
No, absolutely. Actually, I do have an idea for you. I've been thinking about, getting my own talk show and what type of scenery what I want. I'm a huge WWF fan, WWE, and it's like, wouldn't it be cool to have my own entrance? Like, you remember back, I think it was WrestleMania 6 or 7, where it had the W and it had the neon lights out? I have to send you the picture. It's basically, you look at WrestleMania 6 or 7, or maybe it was 8, it had, imagine your closet, the door behind you. And it had a logo and it has neon lights. And it's like, wouldn't it be cool to have my own talk show and have an entrance and the guests will come out with their own music, they can dress up and then they can pose or whatever. And have it in a wrestling ring. Have a table and chairs in a ring. And have a wrestling theme. And then I was thinking about recently, when I was working at Toys R Us, I was playing with all these toys. Why not do something different? Why not have some toys or items laying around and make it different? Why do you want to do, I was thinking about doing a Bill O'Reilly, Bill Maher, and have the same old repetition, but why not do something different? Why not do one show, say, I don't know, once a month you do a wrestling theme and you're in a ring. And then you just interview just wrestlers or anyone who just wants to be in it. And then a month later, you're constantly changing the theme.
It's great.
When people come to your show, Keith Andrew is doing this great thing. He's a wrestling fan. Now he likes toys. Have these different themes to get people interested. I know it sounds stupid and ridiculous. It's like, how can you take this guy seriously?
No, I love it. It's great. And if you had an underwater one, that might be a little difficult, but it would be fun to do one in a pool, too.
That's true. And the only thing you can come close to that is renting, what was it? I think it's in New York or San Diego, where the underwater in Korea, it's the tunnel and it has you look up and the fish is around you.
Yeah.
Why not do an interview there? It's always,
those are great.
I
think it's a great idea, and that's how I've done my career. Is don't be trapped by what people say you can or can't do. Just try things. I mean, don't be crazy, but try things. And if it doesn't work, it's okay. You can fail, and you can try something else. That's the only way I've been able to do anything in my life.
No, absolutely. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to pass the show over to you.
Get a personal video message for yourself or as a gift for someone else. For personal connections, shout-outs, birthdays, proposals, weddings, and much more. Enter your details about yourself so the celebrity can record a personal video message especially for you, including details such as your name, age, birthday, hobbies, or whatever else you include. As soon as the video has been recorded, you'll get an email with your link so you can share it on social media or download and keep it. Celebrities record videos as and when they can, usually within 2 weeks. But if you want a video for a specific date and it does not look like it will arrive in time, you can cancel it and get an instant refund at the click of a button. There are hundreds of celebrities to choose from, and many more joining every day. Search by category or genre. Buy a gift voucher, get updates and offers, and encourage your favorite celebrities to join so they can connect with fans in a fun and unique way. Raise money for their charities, and much more. So order your video now for yourself or for someone else.
I'm so bored.
Want to see something really cool?
Yeah!
Now you'll never be bored again with Loot Crate, a totally bodacious mystery box packed with awesome toys, radical games, and other surprises. And the best part is, you can get Loot Crate delivered right to your door. So don't delay. Ask your parents and order today.
Everything okay in there? Yeah, everything great. I love Loot Crate.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 343. I'm here with a good friend of mine, Bill, Mr. Bill, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest.
Oberst. It's an unusual name, and I get all kinds of things. I get Obst, I get Oberst, I get Obberst, but it's Oberst. But I'll take Bill. That's fine.
Well, I'm here with Bill Oberst Jr. No disrespect. When I don't say as away for my disability, it doesn't sink in. So the reason I called you Mr. Bill, I was like, shit, what's his last name again? That's fine. Let's call him Mr. Bill.
That's absolutely fine. I think it's great. And I'm from the South, and the American South. And so when we were kids, we called people like younger people than you would call you Mr. Keith or Miss Lisa or Mr. John. So I grew up with that. It's okay, Mr. Keith.
Oh, absolutely. And my stage name is Keith Andrew. So when someone says to me, Mr. Andrew, I have to think about it. It's like, yeah, I think that's directed at me, but that's not really. That's my middle name, but it's kind of weird. But I won't mention my real last name because when they do mention my last name, I'm like, oh, they're talking about my father. And it's like, wait, my dad's not here. Ah, crap, they're talking about me.
Yeah. I often think about this for people who have stage names that are not their real names. I know a couple actors like that. Like, what's it like when somebody calls you by a name so long that you almost forget your real name? Must be kind of weird. So I probably should have changed mine to something, more pleasing, but I just kept Oberst. And I used the junior because my dad said when I was young, if you're going to be an actor, for God's sake, use the junior so people don't think that it's me.
Huh. Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah, actors are the black sheep of the family always, so.
Yeah, it's kind of like an entertainer of the family, so I was always the black sheep.
Yeah, when are you going to get a real job? That's what they always say to us, so.
Hey, working two retail jobs, but like you said, if I can get it out, get on TV, hopefully people will take me more seriously. But I was going to ask you, you worked with Hugh Jackman, you worked with the guy from Big, and you worked with Jim Carrey. Out of those three, who was one of your favorites? Who stands out the most, and do you think influenced your life?
Well, it didn't influence my life, but he saved me from getting fired, Jim Carrey. We had to do a stunt where I was to pull a gun that he was holding and pulling down. It was a comedy bit. And he said, "Oh, just go for it." And I said, "Well, I don't want to hurt you." And Jim, and he said, "No, just go for it." Well, Keith, I'm small, but I'm strong.
Yeah.
And so I tend to really go for it in physical. And so I pulled him so hard that he fell over the crash pad and down onto what's called the dolly tracks, which are tracks the camera moves on. And so on set, there was this collective, and so he got up and he looked down at me like as if to say, "It's okay." And he said, "Oh, I fell. Totally my fault." And we moved on. And I thought, how nice are you? So, yeah, professionalism. It doesn't take much. Here's what it all boils down to. Don't be mean. And we live in a culture that really encourages meanness because we think it's cute to be an ass.
Yeah.
But it's not cute. It's just childish. No matter how high up you are, if you act like an ass, it's silly, it's childish, and it's sad. So I'm all about promoting people being professional, treating one another with kindness. Even if you don't always feel like it, if you do it long enough, you will feel like it, like a smile. If people smile, if they do this, they'll find themselves lightening up and feeling better. Whereas if they did this until they felt like they wanted to smile, they'll never smile. But if you start smiling, it gets better. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with you. Here's one for you. Say you smile at the wrong person. Have you ever gotten, like someone answered back and it says to you, "The hell are you smiling at?"
Look at this face, and you'll know that the answer is yes. This is why I play killers, because I look like this. When I smile at people, people assume that I want to hurt them. And that's a really... I was in a project that won an Emmy, Take This Lollipop, and it's still online. It's takethislollipop.com. It ties into your Facebook profile, and it's this creepy guy hacking through your profile, and I am that creepy guy. So right after that came out in 2012, I would be walking around Los Angeles, and I would have kids say, "Mom, that's the guy that stalked me on Facebook." And so I would smile at the parents, which would make it worse, because my smile... They think, "Oh my God," and they're pulling their kids away from me. So, yes, I have had that experience. But again, I'm from the South, and so it's my nature to smile at people and say, "How you doing today? How's everything?" And people go "Fine. Why are you asking?" Because a lot of people in California, not only in California, but it's really prevalent there. When they speak, every sentence ends up like this, like, "Keith, why are we talking like this?" So yeah, I get a lot of that as people slowly back away.
Yeah, but it makes it more fun. That's the screw with people.
Well, yes. And in my business, I'm not supposed to like to screw with people. I'm supposed to be nice, but sometimes secretly you do, yeah.
Right.
Only when they're mean. Only when they're mean.
I give you a funny story. Yesterday I was fooling around with my boss, and I made her say "damn it." And basically, I was trying to make her laugh and everything. And we had a small drone that we show as a demo. So I picked it up, I walked over to her. I was holding the drone, and I said, "I want to play with the drone." And so she's like, she just looked at me like, "Oh, great." So the drone went up and down, went over the store, and I put it near here because I thought I broke it because it shot across the store. So I thought it was dead. And I was like, great, I have to go buy it now because I broke it. So when it was on the counter, I was walking around with the remote because I was helping a customer. And while I was walking back from the customer, I think that, after I was saying, "Customer, do you need anything?" They said, "No." I was playing with the remote. It's like flipping it up and down. I heard, and it flew from the counter into the back wall, and then it fell on the floor, and I heard it again. It went, and all I heard was, "Damn it!" Because he picked it up in the plastic blade, so I gave her a shock. So I said, "I'm sorry, I gave you a shock." But
and you said, "Damn it."
I'm sorry?
You gave her a shock and you made her say, "Damn it."
Yes.
Yeah.
I try to have fun with people, and I'm not perfect.
Well, no one is.
No, absolutely. Now it's the last 5 minutes left, and 2 questions I do want to ask you. The first one is, actually, I'm going to pass the show over to you first, and I can save the last 5 minutes.
Say that. Ask it again. I didn't quite catch it.
I'm going to ask you the last 2 questions, how I usually wrap up. I haven't done my interview. I haven't done my interview as of late, so I'm really rusty at it. But the last 5 minutes, I'm going to pass it to you. You can promote yourself and everything. And then I'm going to ask you the last 2 questions at the very end.
Ask the 2 questions first.
All right, the first one is, are you on social media, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and how can people follow you?
I'm on all of those things, and it's Bill Oberst Jr. and I follow people back because I think it's rude if somebody follows you not to follow back. And I'm on Facebook too, and I love people to say hello. I think it's great.
No, absolutely. And the last question I was going to ask you, then I'll pass the show to you and you can finish it up, is when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first impression? And after being interviewed, how do you feel now?
My first impression was that you were extremely polite because you didn't just send a direct message that said, hey, interview? ? Because people are really short on social media. Yes. You said, hi, I would really like to interview. And we went back and forth. So that was my expectation, was that you would be very polite and professional. And you are, but you're also mischievous too. Like you enjoy making your boss say, damn it, and giving her a mild electrical shock. And I like that. I like the mix of the politeness and the mischievousness. So I really enjoyed meeting you and talking to you. And I'm going to encourage everybody that I know who you would want to be on your show to be on it.
No, I appreciate it. Now, wrapping up, is there anything you want to promote and talk about?
There's only one thing I want to talk about, dude, and that's love. I want to say to people that we have to love each other and that you can judge whether you're loving each other. I'm a follower of Jesus, and Jesus says, you will know them by their fruits. What is the fruit of your action? By what you're saying, doing, being on social media or in real life. What's the reaction on other people? If that reaction in other people is bad, if you're hurting them, you are not showing love, and don't pretend that you are. Love is shown by the results, okay? If you love, you will promote love in other people. If you're hurting other people, you're not loving them. You're doing wrong, and you know you're doing wrong. So stop being mean. Start concentrating on love. Make love the center of your life. If you believe in God, make Him the center of your life. But for God's sake, stop being mean, because it just ain't cute anymore. That's it. End of sermon.
No, I appreciate it. I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But wrapping up our interview, it's a real honor and privilege to have you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2.
My pleasure. Thank you, Keith.